Hi.
Hi.
It feels weird because we've just sat here for like, what is it, like an hour?
Eating food, chatting. Oh, but it's good. It's good. So
I feel like I'm going to have to repeat myself now.
you're going to have to tell me all over again. You are listening to Season 2, Episode 2. It's a voice note, not a podcast. And today's episode is all about
Moving. Can we just start with shout out to Wang Dumplings?
Yes,
in
we can.
Hornstorm?
Yes.
That shit is the best dumpling I've had in Stockholm.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I can still taste that vegan dumpling. It's great. You're upset because you didn't get miso soup.
Yeah, because they include miso soup with everything. But if you ever mention vegan, they ditch it all.
I love how you're blaming me on this one.
I am blaming you.
It probably is my fault.
I'm like, can't you just be veggie?
No.
You're not finished with this yet.
The poor cows and the poor chickens. But no, so you have recently moved.
Do you know what?
What?
Last episode we did faves and shitters, right?
Yeah.
No, the tits and the tits and the pits.
The tits and the pits.
Which is basically faves and shitters.
Yes.
And I spoke about, what was it, cat videos.
Yeah.
You know what I've been into the last week or so before I moved?
What?
This family who own a farm. I can't remember the name of it. It was like 1 a.m. I was just scrolling through all of their videos on Facebook.
Oh, God.
And they own it's a chicken farm.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like really into it. So they get like different kind of breeds of chickens and breed them and I got really invested into it.
Oh my God. Your viewing history must be hilarious.
Oh God. One night I was have you ever heard that Filipinos are really good at karaoke?
Not specifically, no.
Wataru told me that once.
Yeah.
You've met Wataru, right?
No.
He's my colleague at work. He's from Japan, right?
Yeah.
And he said it to me one day in the office. And I was like, that's a bit of a funny thing to say. Why would you say that? It was like, yeah, it's like a known thing. Filipinos are really good at karaoke.
I did not know that. I know everyone likes to have, I've got a Korean friend who's very much like, no, it's our thing. And then I've got, a Japanese friend who's like, no, it's our thing.
All right. When you get home tonight, type in, I'll send you the video.
Send me the video.
There's this one bloke who sings Celine Dion. And he's sat outside somewhere. And I swear to God, it sounds like Celine Dion. I saw it on Instagram. So then I had a few, a few beers. Mm-hmm. So at 10 o'clock at night, I just went on this rabbit hole on YouTube watching Filipino people sing karaoke. And they're mind blowing. Because it's really big part of their culture.
I need to take a listen. That sounds really cool.
It's I think they call it the vocal capital of the world. This guy, he's just sat outside under a little tent, blasting Celine Dion, and his mates are just sat around him, chilling. A bit like, oh God, he's at it again.
I love that.
They were my tits.
There's another tit.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, sorry, we're talking about moving.
So let's go with the most recent move for you and the most recent move for me. And, it's sort of, because mine is emigrating. Yours is your first hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great.
I have actually moved a lot in my life, though.
Yeah.
I think I've lost count.
Hour-long episode.
Yeah. I moved out when I was 16. Because, my stepdad didn't like the fact I was gay.
Okay.
So then I ended up living in, a homeless shelter for a bit.
Shit.
You know that, right?
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, with, crackheads and shit.
Fuck.
And a guy who just left prison who, owned a gun.
How do you own a gun if you've just left prison?
So at that point, maybe I shouldn't say this.
We're going to have to sit for the episode.
I was 16.
Yeah.
All right. And at that point, we were in one of the people, because it was it was like a homeless shelter, but they were single apartments with waifs and strays. Mm-hmm. And I was in one of the people's apartment, and I was just sat on the toilet, smoking a doobie. I was 16. I didn't do that anymore. And then this guy walks in and he was like, "Do you think this is a real gun?" Honest to God.
Hell.
Stoned out of my nut.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I suppose if you don't laugh, you cry. Oh my God. You were stoned.
Stoned out of my nut. And I was like, yeah, it kind of looks like one.
I don't know why I'm laughing. That's not funny.
Fucking Nottingham, man. Like,
Shot them. Literally.
so yeah, that was the first time I moved. So I just ended up moving a lot in my life. But the most recent one, I got a first-time contract, which in Sweden is like a permanent rental.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
They're really hard to get. I've ended up having to move out in like the sticks.
Yeah. And actually, your story of getting this apartment is actually quite... It's been a ride.
Yeah,
of you moving.
So I moved out my exes, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that was quite a rushed thing. And then I moved into an apartment in Scansdale, and that was really cool because I've always wanted to live in Södermalm. But you know what I figured out?
What?
I think I'm too old to live in Södermalm.
Why?
I don't think I liked it. Because it's fun to go for a night out. Yeah. There are a lot of pubs and it's all kicking off but then you have to like walk through the streets, and if you're not drunk and you're surrounded by really drunk people all the time, kind of puts you on edge.
Yeah, it does. I don't like walking through Freedomsplan at dead of night.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're in like a little neighborhood or like suburb, for some reason it just feels a bit better.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was like hopping out spontaneously to have drinks with friends and stuff.
No, that's not a thing here.
It's not a thing when you're 30-something.
True.
I need 2 days, 3 days notice. Oh, no, actually, I do say 45 minutes notice.
Yeah.
None of my friends do.
You are the one who comes up and just goes like, should we get shit-faced?
Pub, question mark.
I remember I was coming back into, so this was Christmas, I was coming back in. And I just was like, should we do a podcast record or something like that the next day, this, that, the other? And you just went, yeah. And you went, what are you doing tonight? I was like, well, I've just flown back. And then you were like, I'll pick you up.
Yeah. I just got pissed.
Got absolutely shit-faced. It was great.
Oh, it's Christmas, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Here's what it's all
Awkward family moments.
Yeah. Getting shit-faced. I love that. So apartment in Soda.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned on the last one that after a week the guy was like, "You need to leave."
Yeah. So then you moved over to the arse end of the Green Line.
Borgermassen isn't that far out. It only takes 20 minutes to get to work,
No, not bad.
Yeah, I would get on the Borgermassen. They call it Lille Baggis over there. Little Baggis.
What does Baggis mean?
Borgermassen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is like really cute cafe shop right on the next to the train station. I was an American guy there, and I used to speak shitty Swedish with him.
Oh, I never went in there, but yeah,
It's really cute. I used to go in the morning if I didn't have my little morning coffee, and then so I was there for a month. A friend helped me out. It was like a construction. No, they're like tree cutters.
Yeah.
So it's like this tree cutting company. And then my friend Chris, he's from the UK. And then basically the bloke, before Brexit, he used to hire Brits.
Yeah.
And then he has like a few apartments actually. So they're just kind of sat there. And you'll hire like a bloke for 6 months, bring him over, make him work, send him home. But because of Brexit, they don't really get that many Brits over now. So
no,
that was me.
That was you in the apartment.
Fucking hell, yeah. I was telling you I was like, if I don't wake up tomorrow and my mom has to come pick me up, she's gonna be like, is this how he's been living? Fucking hell. There's like a mattress on the floor.
Bet the homeless shelter was better.
I think it was,
No,
it won. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything.
No.
But it was like a workman, like several
workmen's place.
And it's very transient kind of, so they didn't really look after it and stuff. So it wasn't the best. And to be honest, it was fine because I was like, I'm going to move. I'm only here for a month. But the last weekend or the last week, I was a bit like, I'm feeling a bit shit now.
Yeah, I can see that. I can tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the end, I got my first hand. My Serbian guys.
That's really good. Yeah, they helped you move.
Shout out Alexander. I recommend him to all my friends now.
We'll have to post the number on the website. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's fantastic. So they came and they moved all your shit for you.
3 times.
3 times. God.
At a very reasonable price. I've started, obviously, I just tipped them more and more as I went on.
Yeah.
So they do everything. I mean, I help them, but they're great. I got on the Tip Tap app. And then on the first time, he was like, take my number, it'll be cheaper next time. So I've just been doing that.
That's a really good idea. They're sort of like, I've done Tip Taps. I mean, we got the chairs here via Tip Tap.
Yeah.
From Centre Partiet.
And the apothecary table.
And the apothecary table, yeah, that came, you know.
She butchered.
Yeah, then slam some holes in it.
I got in the van with him. I was like, do you mind if I get in the van with you? I was like, really? I was like, yeah. So it was just me and this bloke from Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
And just sat awkwardly together whilst I was texting you.
Do you know what? We did have one delivery. So this was when I moved into the apartment in London, the first place I owned.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant because literally, like, I ordered this table. It was like off Etsy. It was, you know, really nice, like industrial raw wood, and then like, you know, these industrial table legs and stuff like that. So literally, this guy comes over and he's like from Stoke-on-Trent. He's driven it all the way into London from Stoke. And Mike opens the door, Mike, who I lived with, and he's in his boxers because that's how Mike works when he's at home.
Just in his underwear.
Just in his underwear, upside down on the couch with a laptop on his lap. And he plays rugby. He's quite, you know, yeah.
Beefy.
So he's just there. And then Dan came out of the shower and he's wearing the towel, just going like, oh, is this the table? So then he suddenly clicked, you know, that, you know, oh, it's a gay house. He built this table in next to no time. Like, screws were flying. He was like, you know, he was like trying to get out of there as fast as possible. He's got one guy in a towel, and then he's got Mike, who's straight, but in his boxers.
With a massive arse.
Yeah. Does.
There's rugby in it. They're all beefy.
I know. I can't. Sorry, Emily. So there was that. So how was your move? Are you happy in your new place?
Yeah. Yeah, very happy. It's very small.
Mm-hmm.
Well, small enough for me.
Cozy.
Big enough for me, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's clean, has a dishwasher. Love that.
Jealous.
Has a washer-dryer combo. Love that. It was a bit dirty when I moved in, so I complained. And then they've knocked off a bit of money.
That's good.
They were like, we can send a cleaning company round, or we can just knock a bit off your next rent. And I was like, I'll do that because I need to buy everything.
Yeah.
Like, I need to buy boring shit, like a toilet brush.
Yeah.
A Hoover. Because I got rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
When I moved over from London, I'm not going to pack a fucking Hoover.
I did.
You brought everything over though, right?
Okay, so this is the last time I moved was me emigrating.
Yeah.
And my plan was to finish the job I was working on and then move over. And it was all going to be fine. It was all going to be great. And this was, you know, decided sort of like December 19, January 2020, which of course we know is the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned this.
Yeah.
It was obviously like a year ago though.
It was, yeah. It was a year ago. It was on the first step, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were moving over and it came very quickly that no one is moving or doing anything. And it was like all on lockdown. So as soon as lockdown was lifted in the UK, which was around like, when was it? It was like June time.
Summer, yeah.
So I was like, right, now's the time. And I was like, okay. So I started talking to this moval company, Crown Relocations. My aunt used them to move herself to Abu Dhabi. They're expensive, but they do everything. And so we organized everything through them. And these guys come and they're basically taking everything. Emily and Mike, who lived with me in the apartment, were also moving out at the same time. And I very explicitly said, all of this is mine. These 2 suitcases are not. And so like they're doing all their things, you know, it's taking a long time because they're literally like packing everything. They're sort of like taking my sofa, dismantling it into pieces and then wrapping it and then taking it out to the van, and they're filling it into a van, which goes into another van and then gets shipped over to Sweden. And there was a moment where like all that had finished. It'd taken all day. And then Emily comes out and she's just like, where are those 2 suitcases? And I'm like, shit. So we've got 2 of their suitcases still.
With all the shit in it?
Yeah. I'm going to buy new power tools.
What was in it?
Power tools.
Really?
Yeah. And I was giving Emily all my, because we got like, it's the UK, it's a different plug. I don't need any of my extension cables, so I was giving her extension cables. But I spent the entire month where she was like back and like moving stuff. Every time she was like, what are you going to do with this? I was like, do you want it?
Yeah.
Like it became a thing where it's like, I can now say, do you want it in like under a second? I'm like, do you want it? It's
you just get rid of that shit. Like people don't even want it and you're like, just please take it.
Exactly. So there was a moment where I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I was using the IKEA furniture that I needed to assemble for the people moving into the apartment, renting it out. I was just like on the boxes, just watching TV and stuff like that. It was really bleak. And 2 weeks later, I can remember sort of like FaceTiming Dan, who's now moved into the apartment we're in Stockholm.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how are you? And he just went, I'm good, thanks. How are you? And he sits down on my sofa. And I can remember going like, this bitch has stolen my sofa. I was like, and I just, like veins throbbing. And I went, I'm really good. How are you? As I've got my disposable coffee cup that I've used for the 3rd time. And then he's just like, yeah, I'm great. And he's got one of my mugs. I'm like, this bitch has my mug. I know I sent it. I know it was my boyfriend, now my husband. I know it's my partner. But there's something that snapped inside me where it's just like, if he cuts off all communication, I have none of my shit.
You're fucked. Also, that's my mug.
Yeah. So that was, and then 2 weeks after that, I moved. So moving day comes along and I've made it as easy as possible. I've got 4 suitcases, 3 of which ended up being over the weight limit. So that was an extra, 350 quid that BA got out of me. And I thought I'm going to get a cab because that's going to be the easiest way of doing it. Completely forgetting the fact that I have to sit in the back. So this cab driver pulls up. It's an XL as well. So I got the big one. And he's like, your road's blocked off. And I'm like, what do you mean? I look, and they're doing roadworks outside. So I'm like, fuck. So I have to carry these suitcases. And I've got my stepmom's suitcases that I've borrowed. And I'm sort of wheeling them along. And then one of the handles goes snap. And I'm like, oh. So then I have to pick that one up. And I'm just going, and it's like, okay. And he was like, how many more? I went, 2 more suitcases, hand luggage. And he was like, are you moving? I was like, yes. And he was like, oh God. So literally it took like several trips down the street and I'm already stressed and sweaty. Get into the cab, get to the airport, go to check him in, and that's where they're like, whoa, this is overweight. And I'm like, okay, just pay the bill. I'm just like there with my car going, yes, 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 beam. It's like, yes, I'm aware, beam. Get through and mask on, everything. This poor kid who goes to sit next to me is terrified. Like he's wearing a face shield, face mask, gloves, everything. And then he looks and he's got the seat next to me and he goes, nah, and the guy's going, it's a full flight, mate.
Oh dear.
So he had to sit next to me. And yeah, then I got to Sweden and Dan met me with a mask on and a sign saying welcome. And then and then he just went, I could take that off now. And I was like freaking out, kept my mask on.
Were you already in the apartment where you are now?
Yeah, when I moved here, he'd already moved in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was really good. And all my shit was there. It was fine.
Yeah. That's lovely.
It was great.
How much did it cost?
I think £5,000. It was a lot.
That's your mum's furniture, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important, and it's sort of like, and my aunt gave me this lion. We've got a like meter high porcelain lion,
Yeah.
and the guy was like, "Do you want to insure it?" I was like, "I don't think it's worth that amount of money." I think she bought it in the 80s from Costco. From a wholesaler. And I just went, but sentimentally it means a lot. So he said, so the only other thing we could do is get a crate. So I was like, let's buy the crate. They build a crate and they basically say like, the idea is like whatever's inside there won't break. So yeah, so that's how we got everything there. Everything was fine. Everything worked out great.
Oh God, I just moved there. I moved there with 2 suitcases and a white box.
Okay, so this is the first time you emigrated.
Second time.
Second time you emigrated.
So the first time I really fucked that one up.
Yep. I feel like we need an interlude into this. Okay, so the first time you fucked up.
I think I might have spoke about this before on the podcast.
I don't think you have.
So the first time I moved to Sweden, I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I ever got on a flight on my own as well.
Oh, okay.
So I had 300 quid.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why I thought that was enough. I had 300 quid, and I went and stayed at my friend Alicia's. She lived in London, so I hung out with her for the weekend. Not a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we stayed up all night, and then about 4, like I think it was like 4 a.m. I was like, oh, I need to get to the airport, but for some reason I did not register that my flight was at 6.
Oh, no.
For some reason.
What? Okay.
So I got there at 5:30.
Oh, my God.
Thinking I was getting on a fucking bus or something. I also had a bag. I didn't have a suitcase at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Suitcases are expensive, especially if you're like fresh from uni, 300 quid in your pocket.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just shove it in this bag that you just have to carry. You can't even put it on your back.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've had a big one. Got there at 5:30. The lady behind the like counter, I was like, I'm going to miss my flight. Is there any way I can reschedule this? She was like, yeah, but we need to do it now and you need to pay 300 quid.
Shit.
Or £292
Yeah.
to be exact.
Oh, my God.
So I was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then did that. I had to end up flying to Norway, change over in Norway. Oh, by the way, after I booked the flight, I was like, okay, I'm going to go sleep on, like the waiting area.
Yeah.
Throw up from pure stress. I like rang my dad, my stepdad, and I was like, yeah, I fucked it. And he was like, all right, see you in 6 months.
Yeah. Oh, God.
We're all right now, I guess. Anyway,
So you
Yeah.
landed in Norway.
so I got to Norway, and then I remember I was like waiting in Norway, and I was like, oh God, I moved to Sweden. Oh yeah, it's exciting. I've already fucked it up. And I like emailed my company. They said it's fine. We'll get you a hotel. Just get a taxi there. And then I was just sat in Norway waiting for the plane. It was like a 2-hour changeover, and then this Turkish bloke came and sat next to me, and he was like banging on about how like it's like cold weather, cold people, and I'm like, why? What's up? He was like, they've just taken $2,000 off me, and I'm like, what do you mean? It was like I had $2,000 in cash, and they've taken it off me. And I'm like, why do you have $2,000 in cash? And he kept saying cold weather, cold people, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I've never heard that before.
Now you know why.
No, I know. Nah, it's not true, really. But
Nah.
yeah, I mean, why did he have 20 grand? I mean, $2,000.
Yeah, why did they take $2,000 off him, though?
It might have been 20 grand.
It might have been 20 grand. Yeah, that I think they stop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're
Things
very
up to-
funny about you moving money across countries.
I think it's just in cash,
Yeah,
but it is a bit weird.
it
Anyway.
is a bit weird.
Anyway, got to Sweden. It was a fucking snowstorm.
Oh,
And by this point, I was kind of in good spirits. I mean, I did throw up, but then I had to sleep. You know? It was a snowstorm, and I remember I sat outside, I sat on the bag, and I had a cigarette, and I was like, what the fuck have I done? I'm like in Sweden, first time on my own on a flight or anything. So it all got sorted out. I only melted down the day after when I got into my apartment and I needed to charge my phone. And for some reason, it never registered that they have different plugs. And I melted down. When I tell you, like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
you've learnt a lot.
Yeah,
You've learnt a
yeah.
lot.
So then fast forward. I mean, I kind of fucked that one. I didn't fuck it up. I just stressed myself out. So the next time I was like, right, I've got this. I've got 2 massive wheelie bags.
Yeah.
They're on wheels. I've got a bike box because I love my bike. I like learned how to dismantle it and put it back together just so I could take it. I went back to the bike shop and I said, can I have a box for it? And then I was walking up the street with a massive bike box through Hackney.
Yeah, it's kind of normal for Hackney.
Yeah. Booked a taxi on the work account for my old job, so I got a nice 20% discount off. Got a taxi there. I wasn't on no train or anything. Got that expensed. And then, but this is during COVID time as well. It's like more of the back end of COVID.
Yeah.
So this is when you still had to have like COVID tests to get on the flight. So I've given all my possessions away, 2 suitcases, a bike box, handed my keys in, quit my job, in a taxi, bearing in mind the weekend before, again, had a big one, got a neck tattoo, so it was very wet. Because I was like, the best time to get a neck tattoo is between jobs.
Yeah.
In this taxi, and I'm like, if I've got COVID,
You're fucked.
I'm fucked.
I don't.
Not only did I not get, because you had to have a COVID test that was within 48 hours. Not only did I not do that the day before, I was too busy getting a fucking neck tattoo.
Such a dick.
I remember I had like one of those like fake COVID tests, but I didn't have like the nasal thing. So I just spat in it and I was like, maybe that'll work.
For fuck's sake.
So I'm at the airport. There's this young girl. She's like, I explained to the whole situation. I was like, this is my life. These are all my possessions.
As if that's going to change her opinion of what that test says.
No. And then I was like, so I really need this to be positive. And then she was like, right.
You really need this to not be. You need this to not be positive.
Yeah, negative. And then she was like, okay. And I can tell she was getting stressed out.
Yeah.
So then she looked over and she went, oh my God, it's negative. Go, go, go. I was like, peace.
Why is it with you and plane travel?
No, it's more emigrating. I just make it as stressful as I can for myself. But my tip, if anyone wants to is emigrating to another country, Bryony did this when I first moved here. I thought this was clever. Because you're like, you can't have you have like, it's going to take a while to like build up your chargers, and maybe you have all your electronics in like English plugs or whatever. Get an extension lead, with like loads of plugs things, and then you only need one converter.
Yeah,
I thought that was so clever.
no, I think that's a really cool idea.
Because the first time I moved there, I didn't even fucking realise they were different.
I mean, it depends on the country you're in. Luckily, across Europe, they have the same frequency as us, or they have the same wattage as us.
Oh God, don't make it nerdy.
You try going to the States and, charging shit. I think modern stuff is fine, but if you have any electronics, like, you're fucked. You really are. But
The plugs in America are tiny.
Right? Yeah, it's very different. But I tell you what, so on the subject of moving, I have 2 moves in London. I did 2 moves in London, which is quite reasonable for sort of like London living. And I can remember the first time I moved, I thought, okay, this is going to be great. This is going to be fine. I'm going to do it all in my car. I have the whole day, so we can do that. I didn't foresee moving from Silvertown to Brockley, which is, east north of the river to east south of the river. I did not know how much of a car park the Blackwall Tunnel becomes.
What do you mean?
It was just standstill traffic. You just couldn't move. So it was an absolute nightmare. So by the end of it, I was just like, okay, there's nothing I can do. I have to, I'm gonna get a van. So I got a van the day before, which was a real good job because I suddenly got back to my car, tried to start it, it wouldn't even start. And I was like, oh, this is a nightmare. So then I got the AA out, and the AA basically came and just went, your battery's dead. You need a new battery. And I went, where do I? And it was like Halfords. So I Googled, found a Halfords. And literally he had to start my car and he went, don't turn the engine off because you're going to be fucked if you do. So we got to Halfords, parked up as close as I could, turned it off, couldn't turn it back on again. And I was like, I need a new battery. So I managed to get a new battery, get back. And I was like, right, now I'm going to spend, it's now 7:00. And I'm like, right, now I'm going to start packing. So pack the van literally to the gunnels with all of my shit. Oh my God, it took forever, to get down there. And the thing was, we were checking out of our old place at 5 p.m. So I needed to get back to Steve, who's at the flat for the checkout. Yeah, Steve. And so there was one where Steve's like, are you going to be back anytime soon? And I was like, yeah, we're on our way back. We're driving. We're on our way back. We're going to help, this, that, the other. And he went, and he called me, he went, mate. And he was like, thank you. You've done such a good job of cleaning the place that the guy is like, I'm just going to give you the last few bits so that you get your whole deposit back and I'll sign it off. And apparently it's really hard to do that. And I was like, oh, sound. And he went, no, mate. He's got me on the skirting boards with a bloody wet wipe. And he's getting me inside all the lampshades. And he was like, get your ass back here so you can tackle a lampshade.
You had to clean the lampshade?
Yeah, I had to clean lampshades. I had to clean, you dust everything. Like, everything. So we gave this apartment back completely spotless. And anyone who's living in London who doesn't know how to clean very well, steam cleaner. Buy a steam cleaner. Buy a Karcher steam cleaner. Because honest to God, that made the bathroom shine. So much so that he took one look at it and he went, you're going to get your deposit back, boys.
I have always got my deposit back.
That's not always been the case for me.
No?
No. But most of the time we've got our deposit back.
When did you not get your deposit back?
I think there was a thing at uni. There was, there was one thing at uni where it was just like, okay, this. And we kind of knew. Like, again, it was Steve's fault. So basically, Steve used to play this game called Cunt, which is where you kick a ball and and you have to keep it up. The thing is, usually you do this outside. He decided to do it in the apartment.
Yeah, that's some straight boy shit, man.
Yeah, some very straight boy shit. And it wasn't even our apartment, it was next door. And so literally he just went, cunt, kick this ball. This ball goes flying through, breaks the, the false ceiling you have in offices. Yeah. Just went, this thing came down and then it just went, and then, went through the next one. It went, so he took out 2.
That's so straight boy shit, man.
Yeah, just walked into our apartment and stole 2 of our false ceiling tiles.
No way.
And I can remember Seb just going have you seen our shit? And I was like, what? He was like, where? And I was like, oh, next door they were playing with football. And he went, oh, no, they're not. So we got charged for a load of the ceiling things.
Oh, tell a lie. One time for my uni, when I was in Nottingham, I ended up getting staying in the student halls for a bit. Not student halls, a student house. And I was on the top floor. The landlord, he took £5 off a deposit.
For what?
For a broken mug. A mug.
That's
and it's
petty.
Like the cheap IKEA shit as well.
That is petty.
Really petty.
Really petty. Oh my God. Do you know what? Our landlord, when we moved to the house, was brilliant. We got burgled once. And when I say we got burgled, I'm talking 12 men smashed through. We had 2 back doors. Oh, really? And they smashed through both of them and started coming in. And then Jess, the tiniest one in the group, comes down, opens the door, spooks him so much they all run out the back door, and she's suddenly like, "Oh my God, we're she runs next door to the cute ginger boy, and was just like, meh. And so he basically had to take her phone and ring Steve because she was hysterical.
Steve.
And so rang Steve, and Steve's just like, what? And he's like, I'm your next door neighbour. I've got Jess's phone here. She says you guys have just been burgled. Your whole back door is just blown out. And he was like, oh my God. So he just sort of, it was the wrong phrasing. Yeah. Wishful thinking with that fit 6-packed ginger lad from next door.
Come round and blow my back door out.
So Steve goes up to Leanne and just goes, we're being burgled. And Leanne turns to him and she went, I just bought 6 wickets. He just went, I'll see you at home. And apparently he left the nightclub and ran home, forgot his coat.
Tell you what though, in that flat, that student house, where the landlord took the fucking mugged me off with the mug. I was sat in the kind of kitchen one time and I was just doing some uni work. And then it's the back of the house, but it's right next to the back door. It's like one of them terrace houses, right? And the garden gate. Yep. So I sat there, looked up, and this bloke he just appeared out of nowhere through this gate, wearing black leather gloves, looked directly at me, and then walked back. Oh. And I was a bit he was about to rob us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely.
I just so happened to be sat here.
But that's the difference between your landlord and my landlord, because our landlord came around after we got burgled, and he noticed that we'd had a party. And we'd broken 2 of the chairs. And he just went, those chairs were broken in the break-in, weren't they? And we were like, yeah. And he went, I got you, boys. Don't worry about it. I think he actually gave us back extra money because he was so sorry that we got burgled. I mean, all they took was Emily's iPod and Emma's speaker. That was all they took. Luckily, because Jess spooked him. But if you hear someone smashing through 2 back doors, you would be like, oh, I'm going to go check. Yeah. Not in a gay way. 2 actual, glass.
So check it out. right, boys, having fun.
So that was all 12 of you. So that was the first time we got, but that was the first time I moved, was like moving from Silvertown to Brockley. The next time was from Brockley to Silvertown. Now, I'm not going to mention names, but we were...
Where the fuck are these places?
Oh my God.
Brockley.
East. Yeah, Brockley. It's on the overground, which is now called the Windrush Line.
Ah.
Yeah. And then Silvertown is part of the DLR.
Right.
You know where the XL Centre is?
No.
Do you know where the O2 is?
Yeah.
You know there's a cable car that goes from the O2?
Yeah.
That the other side of that is Victoria Station, which is like, you know, your walking distance to
I know the DLR.
Yeah.
I had a friend that lived in the Canary Wharf.
Yeah, so I'm just a few beyond Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I love that. And that's where the apartment was that I bought. And it was, do you know what? It was, moving there was great because we got the keys, we got in, and Dan and I were just like, okay, you know, we wanted a real cozy night in, sleeping on an airbed, and just sort of like our first night in an apartment. And I'd got out, it was coming into summer, so I got some outdoor furniture and I got like a table and chairs. And we got these takeaway pizzas that, you know, were almost stone cold by the time they arrived, because the guy was like, it's a building site. And I'm like, yeah, keep driving.
Yeah.
You will get to an apartment that's built. And we got there, ate the pizzas, and across the water is the Hope and Anchor, which does amateur karaoke outside on a Sunday evening when we moved in. It was amazing. So Sunday night, and they're blaring out Celine.
I should have got a Filipino bloke over there.
But she was not Filipino. She butchered Celine like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, but my karaoke songs.
My heart did not go on.
My karaoke song is a Celine Dion.
Is it? What is your karaoke song?
It's all coming back to me now.
Oh.
Maybe, if I love you like this, you hold me like that. Didn't Meatloaf do that song?
I don't know.
Meatloaf.
Do you know what mine is?
Were your parents into Meatloaf?
No. My dad really wasn't like a music fan. My mum was into like soul and Motown.
I feel like maybe it's like a white trash thing. My mum and my grandma used to get down to a bit of Meatloaf, mum. Meatloaf and Elvis.
I love it. But do you know what? It was like my karaoke song is Pocket Full of Sunshine by Natasha Bedingfield.
I got a
Pocket Full of Sunshine. I got a love that I know is so final.
Oh.
Whoa. Take me away.
That's a good bomb. I'm
atonal.
Adele, because that's a crowd pleaser. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Any of them.
You know my friend Johan who came to the legal wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah. We went karaoke once. Korean, Swedish. We went karaoke, and I can remember he just went, I'm going to do No Regret by Edith Piaf in French.
No,
he literally did it in French, and I was like, serve.
I used to love Edith Piaf.
Yeah, that's my granddad's favourite song.
I can get down to a little... It was from the Specsavers advert though, wasn't it? Remember?
Yeah, I remember it from... I remember it from Family, but then it also came back in the film Inception.
Yeah.
But you remember the Specsavers.
Do you not remember all the Specsavers adverts?
No.
Oh. Thought you would. That was mean. It was no, and then there's a film about her life and that French actress. What's her name?
Oh, Marion Cotillard.
Yeah. She played that was and I got really into Edith Piaf for a bit. And then if you walk around Paris, listen to a bit of Edith Piaf. You really get into the mood for it.
Well, that's the thing we're doing this summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to Paris.
Might actually be going with work, you know.
Ooh, as well. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love a little work
but we're
trip
going to go to Paris. You, me, Rico, Dan.
What's that show? It's something couture.
Oh, I don't know. Some fashion shit.
Yeah, I love this shit, man.
Dan's going to kill me.
Couture week. Yeah.
Yeah. But he loves Paris. Paris is his favourite place.
Paris is a vibe, man. I've never been in the summer.
No, it's nice in the summer.
Yeah.
It's I think this is going to be great. I'm really
Some
excited.
very, very fashionable people there. But don't tell the French I said that because we have a thing. Oh no, we reconciled.
We reconciled.
We're just repeating previous. Look up episode 1 on this, where I talk about how you get away with lying to the French.
What episode was it? I think it was episode.
It was episode 1 where we had no, maybe like this episode. There's no like clear thread.
Yeah,
and then it went from like, I don't know, talking about poop to just lying to the French.
Yeah, yeah, I remember now.
Good
So yeah,
times.
check out episode 1, series 1. But no, so do you have any other moving stories? I didn't talk about my second moving story, like where it was.
All right, my turn.
Yeah. Okay, your turn. Yeah. I mean, you've emigrated 3 times already now.
Moving stories.
Any memorable ones?
I moved in London. I lived there for 4 years. No, 4 years, but for the first 2 years, I moved 8 times.
Jesus, I would not be okay.
No, actually, no. It was the full 4 years. I moved 8 times. But the first year was really fucking hard.
Yeah.
So, and I think the most memorable one is where I left. Me and my boyfriend. We lasted a week. My ex-boyfriend. We lasted a week of COVID. Because the relationship was already in the shitter anyway.
Yeah.
So a week of lockdown. That was it. That's all it took. Then I had to live with him for another 3 months. And then I ended up moving with these like random people, this little chihuahua that we got together. That fucking hated it because they were just like 40-year-olds that was still living it big, having parties and stuff. So now I was like, fuck this, I'm moving out. Then I moved to Homerton, and I really like Homerton. I think it's a really nice spot.
Yeah, I used to work nearby in Hoxton.
Spread Eagle, it's a vegan pub.
Yeah, been to Spread Eagle.
Right up your street.
Wasn't a vegan pub back then.
Is now, and their like little dishes are fantastic. But yeah, I moved there, but then literally within I think it was like a cowboy landlord. Within 3 weeks, he was like, "Yeah, we're actually going to take back the flat because I live with 3 other people. We're going to take back the flat and then and like rent it out as a whole. So you need to move out." And I was like, "I've only just lived here.
Why can't the 3 of you rent as a whole?
I don't know. I think there was something. They just needed the flat back."
Yeah.
I was like, "I've only lived here for 3 weeks." And he was like, "Sorry, who are you?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm just going to leave that." And he was like, "No, you need to stay until the end of next month." And I was like, "Not paid a deposit, fuck off."
Yeah.
And then I ended up moving back to Nottingham. Stayed with my mum and dad for a bit because I was on furlough.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had another lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea why I did that. It was like ground zero of what made me a fucked up person, right? Why don't I go lock myself in a house in it like for 3 months?
That was a bad decision.
It was painful. Painful.
You guys must have been killing each other by the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then by the time I started working again, I was like, saved all this money, went back up to London and like lived my best life. That was my last summer in London. It was like the best summer I've ever had. Because I knew I was leaving.
Yeah. So
I went through the shit
fucks.
time in Nottingham, came back to London, bought my cute little bike.
Yeah.
I was feeling very healthy, cycling to work every day, running around, getting up to all sorts of shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lived.
Live my life. And then I had my job lined up in Stockholm. So I was like, well, I'm going to leave in 3 months. So I just really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Got some right little stories.
Maybe we should do an episode on that.
I don't know. Like, private, man.
I don't know. We could do an episode, call it Slut. But no, so I'm trying to think of other moving stories. There was no big move into London or anything like that. It was all really sort of like easy, small amounts. The big move that we had going from Brockley to Silvertown, that was interesting because that was like, I was living with someone who was just a little bit unhinged. And it was just, and like we were tiptoeing around trying to get... So we had to like move all of our shit during the day, like, under the cover of daylight, just to keep the peace and stuff like that. So So we moved all our stuff, dismantled everything, moved everything, and, hired a van. Dan's helping me. This is the first time I realised that Dan is actually kind of strong. Because, back then, did not look it. And then suddenly he's like, I'm just like, okay, so, on 1, 2, 3, and he's like, I've already lifted it. I'm like, oh. So then we're moving everything.
But your back is thrown out by lifting up a suitcase.
Yeah.
A small suitcase.
A small suitcase. My back
carry-on.
My back is not strong. My back is not strong. My back is not strong. And Dan is a beefcake now. Like, lives in the gym.
Yeah. I think.
Follow him on on Instagram.
On Grindr.
And on Grindr too.
So flick on Grindr and centre of Stockholm. You'll see him.
It's not always online.
I won't give you your address.
Oh, I love it. But no, so yeah, those were the big moves of my life. It sounds like you've moved a lot more than I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I moved quite a bit. Moved from Nottingham to Birmingham.
Sounds like yours costed less than my
Birmingham to Leicester. Yeah, because I'm not really like I realise now I've got first hand. I'm having to buy all my furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really own a lot.
You will now that you have a first hand.
Exactly. Now I can start like...
Do you want a table with...
get settled?
Holes in it?
I don't want a butcher table. No, you've ruined this, man. You've ruined it.
It's great. I love it.
Apothecary. I still can't say it.
It's a podcast table now.
Apothecary.
Apothecary.
Apothecary table.
Apothecary,
yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's time to get settled.
Now it's time to get settled.
For me, anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've started mood boarding.
Nice.
Pinterest boards. How do I want to decorate?
Maybe we should ask everyone here, to give us some sort of like tips on,
No, I've been planning this, man. I've been planning this for 3 months.
But if you have any suggestions, please send them in to voicenote.
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
Is it just voice note?
I think it's just voice note, yeah.
Okay.
The other stuff is longer.
Yeah. The mouthful.
Yeah, but we're going to get to that in a second. Then we're going to do our outro. So you've been listening to It's a Voice Note, Not a Podcast. Please connect with us on socials. It's a Voice Note on TikTok and It's a Voice Note on Instagram. And take us away, Callum.
Cheers to the quiz. May we be here for many years. We design your clothes, we cut your hair, we edit your film.
Movies.
All we ask for in return is you compliment our derriere.
So please compliment our derrieres.
Tell me I'm sexy.
This is a good beat.